Who's the top guy in the club for fishing every day? Fishinfrank. You say you want to catch some fish.
How's everybody doing? I gotta quit doing this. I tend to want to rest my head on my hands, and
it's not a good look.
Well, I don't know. This is probably better, but you know.
How about this?
Yeah. So I don't know. Oh, but we're sitting here with our Quantum Cabo stuff, the Benchmark, the Reaper, the DOA, the Lose, so much stuff. Anyway, American Fishing Wire. Almost forgot about Sean. So, yes, it's there. Yes,
all right.
It's there. Let's see. Viewer fishing report time.
That is what we said we were going to do. So that's what I'm set up for. I really hope that's what we're actually doing today.
Yeah,
Otherwise, it's a lot of setup for nothing.
Yeah, Josh this takes about 45 minutes before the cameras turn on. Josh spends an inordinate amount of time sorting everything out, trying to get everything so it's in order and the correct pictures with the correct stories.
Otherwise, it would be a complete cluster, which would be a problem.
So anyway, after the last 45 minutes, we are finally sitting here ready to go. I'm Fishin' Frank, owner of Fishin' Frank's Bait and Tackle in Port Charlotte, Florida. We're in the Bear Furniture Plaza right here. Bear Furniture's right there. The bingo's right there.
It's easier to find us by ABC Liquors. Everybody recognizes the ABC sign.
Yeah, right behind ABC Liquor. They're doing remodels in the building, so there are no signs out front. So if you pull up, no, we're not closed. They're just remodeling. And a week ago, they said, we're going to paint the building, so we got to take your sign down.
And have they painted?
No, I figure sometime this year
they're going
to
get to it.
So Robert put up a little cardboard box and wrote Fishin' Frank's on it, put it next to the door. And it's funny watching the people are walking up and down the sidewalk trying to find us. And some I recognize are regular customers, but they just tore all our doors and windows out, put in all new doors and windows, so we have none of the stickers or anything around the door. And then they walk by and they look and they go, they see Robert's little hand-drawn Fishin' Franks there. It's like, oh, my God. But we're surviving anyway.
What if we got Robert out front on the highway with a sign, Fishin' Franks, and he could hold it up, and he could do this, and he could dance, and he could spin it, and all that stuff?
I'm not sure he'd go for that. Maybe if we got a shrimp bikini for him,
or at least a shrimp costume, so nobody would recognize him.
Shrimp costume bikini, I think that would be good.
I think that's a good idea.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say. Costume.
I'll let him know.
Okay, let Robert know that we're getting him a shrimp bikini costume with lots of feelers and stuff sticking out of everywhere.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, this is always, I think, the most fun show because we get to actually see what people are catching, real fish, real pictures, not just a fishing report, but actually what's going on out in the world. And I think it's the coolest thing. And
it's from real people.
So if you would like to join in the thing, send your stuff to frank@fishinfranks.com. And so frank@fishinfranks.com if you've got any pictures, videos, and this could be anywhere in the world. We're interested in what's going on all over the planet.
But look help me out, okay? When you send me a picture, send me the name too, so I know who I'm dealing with.
Yeah, a name
and like
is
a
always
real
good.
name, not like Snake Man 76.
Okay. Well, that makes sense, unless you want us to call you Snake Man 74, and we won't even get it right. Because I know it's supposed to be 76, but I'm just changing it to 74 to be contrary. But keeping my emotional cool here, holding my Quantum Cabo, reel does feel good.
Yeah, that's great. Why don't you put your emotional support reel down, put on your emotional support glasses, get up here in the green screen.
My flying fisherman, and it's funny because since doing this, we've sold several pair of the flying fishermen, and guys like them. Because a lot of us has these higher end brands of glasses, but they're talking about, in the blue-green water, the brown lenses don't see as well, so they want a second pair. And you can get the Flying Fisherman, which work great for a third of the price or a quarter of the price of a lot of them.
Yeah.
And they're going, these are pretty good.
And that's what I carry as my backups. And I did have an instance a few weeks ago where I had to wear my backups because I managed to forget my regular glasses in the truck.
Yep.
Overcast, cloudy, just didn't put them on my face. Got out there and now, now there's the sun. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
So, yeah, had to wear my Flying Fisherman. It wasn't too bad.
They're not bad. Some of the multi-$100 glasses are really, really nice. But, I get these and I have to remember to take them off when I get back to my chair. So let's jump up there.
Yep. Let's get you in.
See what goes on.
Here we go. Let's see if I can find me.
All
See, I think,
right.
am I that one? Nope, I'm that one. Why do I always get that wrong? Okay, beaming Frank in. There we go. One Frank, and let's see, where'd my photos go? Because I know.
And there's no Frank.
There's a Frank. Yeah, you're there. It just didn't look like
there
you
you
were
go.
there. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. I only
pushed one of the two buttons.
I pushed half the button. So.
Okay.
All right.
Now,
here we go.
What is...
Get this fired up.
Is that an amberjack?
That sure is.
Look at that. Reef donkey.
Yeah. A pretty donkey-like one right there, too. This came from Bill Gordon. This is Harry Mills out on the happy ending out of PGI. Said they went out Saturday to a mid-range wreck and had a blast getting into a wolf pack of big amberjacks. They also got a bunch of mangrove lane and yellowtail snapper, but they didn't take pictures because they weren't big enough.
Wow.
But this is big enough to take a picture of.
That is nice. That's a genuine reef donkey. That'll take you a while to get up. That's 15, 20 minutes or more of a fight. Where's the fish? Okay. I was trying to wonder why you were zooming in on that. Then I went, okay, where's the fish? All right, gotcha. Not WTF,
No, not
but
that
WTF.
One. Where's the fish?
Yes.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
fish.
Nice. Look at the jaws on that thing.
Look at how unhappy he looks.
Well, I would be too.
Yeah, he wants
he
to
lost.
go back.
He lost.
Put him back.
He lost. I'm sorry. Like they say, everybody's got a plan till you got hit. Sorry, buddy, you just got hit.
Yeah, but he looks awfully happy for having just put in a bunch of work.
Yeah,
so,
he looks really excited. What's his name?
This is Harry Mills, and I'd like to see him after catching 3 or 4 of those things.
I don't know. Harry's got some pretty good arms on him.
Yeah.
He's got some pretty good arms.
You might have to sit down after 2 or 3 of those.
Oh, I'd be laying on the deck panting, trying not to have a heart attack. Now, there's a happy dude.
Okay.
That is one heck of a fish.
So this is Bill Olson, and Bill says hello from Vero Beach.
Vero Beach.
Last weekend, Bill entered the 40 club with his biggest snook. Says
Wow.
After the big freeze here, these good fish are back in. They've been finding them even despite the wind, and water temperatures are already up into the 80s. This particular fish caught on a 3.5-inch Z-Man minnows on 10-pound braid, 15-pound fluoro, and a 30-pound bite tippet. So, wait a minute. Come back.
Yeah.
There we go.
Now, see this black line, boys and girls? Every scale.
I'm looking at the black line.
Okay.
I want to see how far it went.
Goes all the way down to the tail down there. So if you zoom back out a little bit, well, it doesn't matter either way. All right. Every scale on this black line is attached at the base, but then there's an oil sac right below it, actually making each of these scales on the black line into an eardrum. Next time you catch a snook, big or small, take a scale from that is part of the black line, and then take one from here or here. You just need 2 scales, and it's not going to hurt the fish. They get bumped by other critters, clawed by stuff, whatever. But when you look at these, it's just a plain scale. There's no holes or marking in it. We're talking about on the backside. But when you look at the scales on here, and you're going to see where the base of the scale is, right above that, a little tiny oil sac. It's just a little brown mark. But that renders all of these as each one's an eardrum. They can tell when the vibrations come right, left, from the back, from the front. Doesn't matter. That gives them tremendous directional on any kind of sound or wave, whatever you want to call it, in the water. You can tell high pitch, low pitch. Can you imagine having that many eardrums?
And because it's an oil sac, it picks up on lower frequency vibrations a little bit better than it does higher frequency, which is actually perfect because what they need to do is pick up vibrations coming through the water. Not so much sounds. They don't hear us as well, but if you splashed a little into the water, they hear that.
Well, it also shows why paddle tails work so much better on the snook than the curl tail ones, because the sickle tail or curl tails, they produce a higher pitch tone in the water, where the paddle tail, it's going like this, and it's more or less just a thump, 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 thump. It's not a high pitched wave frequency. So that's why snook, traditionally, they do eat the curl tails. I don't know of anything a snook won't eat, but traditionally they hit the paddle tails better because it's a lower frequency noise.
Let's take a second look at this girl here. Come over here on my side so you're out of the way of that fish. There we go. Look at that belly on this thing. Woof.
Getting ready to spawn.
East Coast fish, man. One of those East Coast footballs.
Yeah.
Even when they're spawning, you just don't see them look like this over here most of the time.
Just full of food.
Yep.
Once they get up into that mid-30s and up, what happens is the snook it takes longer to grow, or takes more time for a snook to grow longer, but then they start adding girth. And 40-inch snook can weigh 35 pounds or better. 44-inch snook can go as high as 44 pounds. So they start getting a lot girthier once they get up past 35 inches.
But Bill Olson from Vero Beach with a 40-inch plus snook. Good job.
Nice. Very nice.
All right. Now this
Look at that.
This is Brody. Brody caught his very first snook in a Punta Gorda canal, and that's all the information I have for you.
Look at that. They had a fight. Look at the little bit of grass.
Yeah, a little bit of grass from laying on the ground. But
see the jaws of that fish. Look at that. Nice. Brody, what a fish. Wow. Gotta love that thing. Nice grip, holding it good. Way to go, Brody. Excellent.
And not bad for a first snook. I know a lot of guys who've caught much smaller ones for their first fish.
And the neat thing about Brody's fish here is this is a jumper, because you see how he's still very streamlined, haven't started getting heavier on the girth. So this fish is very acrobatic. It's going to come out of the water. It's going to tail dance. It's going to flop. It's going to do all kinds of crazy stuff. These are so fun to catch. Excellent job, Brody.
Now,
way to go.
If you want to see a really big snook, okay, this next photo comes to us from Brutamesso, and he says it is a potential world record.
Okay.
So let's take a look at Brute's snook. Here it is.
Yeah. I think he told me about that. It was just barely bigger than the lure.
Now, Brute says this may not be the all-tackle largest world record, but he's pretty sure it is a world record all the same.
That is amazing. Now, this lure is probably about 4 inches long.
Yep.
And so you've got about a 7-inch snook here.
Yep.
That is so cool.
He gave it everything he had.
And it just goes to show how aggressive these fish are. That thing is almost half its size. And I'm going to eat it.
Yep.
I'm going to eat it.
Going to try anyhow.
You got a prop back here on the lure. What's on the front of it? So that looks like a tail drop.
Yeah.
Little topwater tail drop lure. Love those. Just so much fun to use. And snook just think they're crazy good. Obviously. Excellent. That is such a cool picture, man. I love that. That is just awesome.
Next up here, we have some photos from, let's see, this is David Martindale. David went out 3 times fishing, so this one was from the 15th, fishing in the Port Charlotte canals. He said he did only fair with ladyfish, a couple of trout, and 4 snook, with the biggest just being 22 inches, but as he was reeling in the paddle tail and just about to lift it out of the water, this 28-inch jack slammed it, so he got to fight that fish. So that was the highlight of his day.
28-inch jack. That is amazing. What was the name of the guy before? Can you still get that?
Brutamesso.
Brutamesso. Yeah, because I just got such a kick out of that. The little snook with the little lure.
Yeah.
That was just cool. Now, who is this again?
This is David Martindale with the 28-inch jack.
Now, this is a fun fish. This is just tear up tackle. When I was charting, I'd have 3 or 4 people on the boat, and we'd go back in, and everybody would hook up, and they said, "What are you going to do? What are you going to do?" The line's screaming off. I said, "Wait for everybody to break off except the last one, and then we'll follow that fish." But in the meantime, what do? One fish is going that way, one fish is going this way, one fish go that way. I said, "Whoever the last one of you that hangs on, can hold on to fish, I'll start the boat and follow them. Until then, can't go 4 directions. I got life jackets. You guys can,
right."
Everybody put on a life jacket and jump off and let them pull you down the canal. But this is crazy amount of fun. That's minutes and minutes and minutes of fighting.
Yeah.
Because that's not coming up quick.
So then on the 17th, he went out and fished Sam Knight Creek, and he did a little better out there. He ended up, his total was 9 snook, 2 ladyfish, 1 trout, 1 red, 1 mangrove snapper, and 3 needlefish. And
wow.
One of those snook was this one.
Nice.
So,
and what's his name again?
This is David Martindale.
David, nice job, man. That's a lot of fish.
Yep.
That's a great day. Look at that.
Great and these are all on a DOA shad tail.
Yep. Love the DOA cow shads.
How could you not?
Yeah. How can
you
not?
They catch fish.
It catches a lot of fish. There's just nothing not to like about them.
Yep. Okay. And then on the 20th, and I didn't get any photos from this one, but he was out 4 hours at the old Bayshore Park, found a few trout at the end of the broken pier, then went into the canals to the west, ended up with 14 ladyfish, 11 snook between 21 and 25 inches, 5 trout, 1 hardhead, 1 sailcat, and 1 keeper mangrove snapper on the white DOA shad and a small Yozuri twitch bait.
And his name again?
David Martindale.
David Martindale. Wow, David, you rock.
He's been busy. He's been fishing.
Yeah, this guy fishes.
All right.
There you go.
This is also David, but it's a different one. This is David Witt. And David Witt says the mackerel were thick in Little Gasparilla Pass by Placida. Water was beautiful. He took these 2 home for dinner on Wednesday, then went back out on Saturday, discovered the pass water was a little dirtier after the wind change, and all the mackerel were gone.
Yeah, unfortunately, they don't have little anchors out of their butts, so they move around a little bit. But small spots, these are true Spanish mackerel, and that's some good eating there. Catch them, fillet them, cook them up that night. Amazing meal. Every day you wait or every time you freeze them, it degrades it somewhat. So I never keep more mackerel than what I'm going to eat that night. If it's just me and the wife, we could literally get away with 1, but we'll usually keep 2 because we limit the side stuff so that we just get more of the mackerel.
Yeah.
But
because that's the good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the good stuff.
Yep. And of course, it's Gasparilla Pass, not Little Gasparilla Pass. Little Gasparilla Pass doesn't exist anymore. It closed.
Okay.
Moving on. Okay. So Ed Jennard sent us a bunch of photos. And
that's a little gag, isn't it?
It is, and he wasn't sure about the ID of this one because of the color pattern on it. It was so
modeled,
patternless instead of the usual modeled pattern that we see on a gag. But that's definitely a gag.
See the color of the water here? That tells you there's not going to be a lot of pattern on the fish. That's why color ID on fish is really a bad idea, because if they're in this water, they're going to be light. They're not going to have a lot of colors to them. If they're in darker water, they're going to have tremendous other colors to them. Color ID is not really good. When you zoom out, let me see the tail. See how this tail is just straight down, it's more or less straight. It's got point top and bottom. Then it's not a Goliath grouper. It's not a Jewfish. So that's your first indication. Now, because of where we are, it's either going to be a black or a gag, and it doesn't have any of the markings from a black, so it's a gag.
Yeah.
Just telling you, sometimes you process of elimination.
All right. So we've also got this fish, and by the way, that was caught at the Edison Reef.
Oh,
which is off
okay.
Fort Myers.
Yep.
Now
It's
this
on
fish,
fishandfranks.com. Go there, go to where to fish map pages. Go down till you see the big red banner and then click reefs and wrecks and you'll see pictures, and each one of them has the name of a reef on them. And once you get the name of the reef, you see, okay, it's here, you know how far away it is. Then you can go and look and see if there's any individual dump site numbers for those reefs, because most of them I found not only when you get a reef, let's say it's half a mile by a third of a mile by half a mile, when you get the coordinates for a reef, they go, okay, that's dead center. Now, the actual structure on the reef could be over here, down. It could be anywhere in this area, but what they give you is center of reef. And so it's up to you to find the dump sites. Well, I found a lot of them, and they're on fishandfranks.com on the reefs and wrecks section. So you can check it out on there. But now, what is this, Mr. Josh? This looks like one thing, but I think it's another.
So this fish was mistaken identity. He wasn't quite sure what it was. He thought maybe it was a red snapper. And this is not a red snapper, despite the fact that it is a snapper and it's definitely kind of a reddish orange color. I believe this is a mangrove snapper.
It would have looked, I would have guessed mangrove myself. Again, color ID on a fish is so hard because it depends on where they live, what the colors around them are. Fish are chameleon-like, and they will change their color patterns to match their surroundings, given if they're there long enough.
And of course, remember that we call this fish, once it lives out in the Gulf, if you look at the actual Gulf Council's regulations, this is a gray snapper.
Yeah, gray.
Yeah, which you can tell by this bright orange color.
Yes. Yeah. But I think you're right. I think it's a mangrove.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a mang.
Big, beautiful mangrove snapper.
Yep, good chunky one.
Huge. This is nice fish. Nice.
Now this, we have no problem with identifying. This is Ed's sheepshead, and this one, move you out of the way to make plenty of room so it fits. There we go. 22-inch sheepshead at Alligator Creek Reef.
Wow.
So look at that thing.
That is so cool.
That thing's a warrior.
Yeah. He's been in battles. He's digging for food. Big teeth, all busted up in the front. Yeah, he's a warrior.
Well, he was.
Then
he got eaten.
Yeah, well, so, all warriors fall.
Yeah, the war came to an end. So, just the way it goes. But yeah, look at those scraggly teeth hanging out of there.
That's some nasty teeth. That's why if you come to Florida, if you're listening up north, and you come to Florida, there's one rule. Don't put your fingers where you haven't looked first. You don't want to just, I'm going to grab this, because teeth, very pointed teeth, like a cat. This thing, and when they lock down, you almost got to break their jaw to get them to let it go, because they got you, and they're not letting go. You know, it's like, okay, you got me, but I'm going to make you pay for it.
And even a little one, a 6-8-inch mangrove snapper can hurt you.
Yeah, you're not going to die, but you're going to remember that fish.
Yeah, for a long, long time. And then he got this one. He wasn't quite sure what this fish was. This is also back out at the Edison Reef. And this is the unfortunately ever-present Tom Tate grunt.
Right.
Not really useful for much of anything. For some reason, these guys don't even make good bait. I don't get quite why. They should. Other grunts make good bait.
It's like sugar trout. It kind of reminds me of a sugar trout because it's got that kind of perch look to it. Mm-hmm. But even them, it's hard to get fish to go after them. I don't know if they just something funky about them.
I don't know. And it's weird. And this species sometimes is the one that if you get out to the nearshore reefs and you're looking down at the bottom and you're like, oh, there's a cloud of fish right here above the reef. There's a real good chance it's these. Right. A whole big pack of
and
these.
The only problem with them is they are edible and they actually taste pretty good. But finding ones that are actually big enough to fillet, that's the problem. Yeah. Because it's not about is it good eating, bad eating, but most of them are just so small that you don't want to fillet them. Although you can fillet that up and it's very tasty.
You can. But this is about, I mean, that's a pretty big one. This is a big Tom Tate grunt.
Yeah.
So,
but that's what I'm saying. They're just so small that.
Yeah. But when you're dropping your baits down and you're getting your bait stolen by something and you're imagining that it's giant snappers that are just nibbling it off of there, it's not. It's these guys.
Yeah. All you got to do is drop your hook down to about a number 2 and put a little bit of shrimp meat on it. Drop it right good down there. Boom, and you'll nail them. A number 4 or number 2 hook, which is very small. I mean, that I'm using that for whiting and sheephead. They're so small.
Yep. And they also got into, let's see, some lane snapper and some other grunts, white grunts, and amberjack.
Now, the lane snapper, white grunts, all about edibility. Those are good. And the amberjack's pretty good eating on its own.
They are.
Pretty darn good eating on the amberjacks.
All right, moving on. Next up is Gary Greenwalt. So this is Gary, and I'm pretty sure we can identify that fish. Pretty sure that that's a Florida bass right there.
Yes.
Look at that mouth.
Yes. Was theirs out?
No.
I wasn't.
No, I don't think there was. So
look at the lateral line here on this fish does help with their sensory perception. But it's nothing like a snook where each one of them is an individual eardrum. They do feel along that. It's part of their sensory stuff, but it's nowhere near pronounced or as efficient as what a snook has.
So I'm going to show you the 3 pictures that Gary sent me, okay? Just briefly. Okay, so there's this one, and there's this one.
Wow.
And there's this one. And I want you to tell me where Gary's fishing.
Okay, you gotta go. Okay. Well, look at that. All right, go to the next one. All right.
Think of a place here locally where we could go catch a jack and a snook and a bass.
Normally, I'd say Lettuce Lake, but
nope. You got to go further onto the Cape Hayes Peninsula.
Cape Hayes,
South Gulf Cove.
Really, in South Gulf Cove?
In South Gulf Cove. Yep.
No kidding.
Yep.
Because once you get past 771, by water, that stays fresh up in some of those areas quite a while. Once you get rain, this top foot and a half starts turning fresh. So, yeah, I can see that. South Gulf Cove.
South Gulf Cove.
Way to go. Look at the nice snook.
So this
Look at her.
Gary's wife, Carol.
Carol, great job. Same name as my mom.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Catching Carol.
Catching Carol. Yep.
There she
great
is.
Picture.
Catching again.
Great fish. Look at that.
Yep. And this was all trolling in the canals, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Did they say what they were trolling?
He did not.
Okay. Well, I don't blame him. We'll try and look on the pictures and see what we can find. See if we find any evidence.
Hold on.
Espionage.
Wait a minute. I take it back. He did tell me what he was using. Hold on. Please hold. Your call is very important to me. Talk more about this snook.
Well, I just think, that is so much fun with snook that size because they're so acrobatic. They come out of the water. They go crazy. If Jack Crevalle could do half of what a snook does out of the water, it would be the most protected game fish ever. You'd never be able to keep one again. But that's what this guy's job is. Get up, go dashing around. Oh, look at that.
There it is.
That's God, I think it's a Rapala, but I'm not sure. Look at that. Blue, white, orange. One of my favorite colors in a lure. Back in the 60s, I guess, Berkeley Line Company, back when Berkeley Badeau owned it. He doesn't own it anymore, but back when he did, he spent a lot of money on fish studies. And according to them, back in the 60s, which I trust a little more than modern science, they said blue was the number 1 color fish would see. That was the most visible color to fish. But, we'll have to look and see what it is.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And the way this body joins up, I'm really not sure.
Jointed.
So, yep. But anyway, that's the lure.
Yeah, look at that. Nice. What was the other fish?
The other fish is this one.
And do we know who this is?
Yeah, I'll get there. It's a nice fish, though. I just
beautiful Jack. I didn't know if it was part of the same group.
It is. This is his daughter Alicia.
Alicia, great job, girl.
Now, this fish was caught on a 3-inch white paddletail.
Wow.
So
look at that. Very nice. Alicia, great job. Look at the size of that thing.
But here's the thing. She was just kind of casting this lure without really any expectations of catching anything. So the rod that he had given her was his bait catching rod. A 4-foot 8-inch ultralight ugly stick with 10-pound test on the reel. So it's a 2 to 6 pound rod.
Wow. Nice job, Alicia.
So 35 minutes to land this
Way to go, girl. Talk about patience and determination. Awesome. Awesome. Because I know how tough that is, because I would fish them with those little 4.5-foot rods and the little 500 reel, and jacks, they just take everything you got. You got to be very patient to try and get it back before they take even more and then break you off. That takes patience and determination. Excellent job.
Yep.
Really cool.
Absolutely.
Oh,
all right.
Look at that.
This is Jennifer DeCock of Wheatfield, Indiana.
Hey, Jennifer, nice.
Fishing out in front of the skating rink in about 5 feet of water with drifting a shrimp on the bottom. And this, of course, is a bonnethead shark.
Yes. Two ways you know. One,
the bonnet there.
One, it hits a shrimp. Two, it's got a little hammerhead on it. These particular hammerheads or bonnet sharks, they love eating shrimp. Catch them a lot while you're trout fishing, but that's a tremendous fight. They're very energetic fish. They don't do a lot of acrobatics, but they do a tremendous amount of pulling, and good eating fish too. But I fillet them. I don't steak them. If you steak them, it's a whole different fish. But if you fillet that out, wonderful meal. And I like that. She's just like, yeah, I got you. I got you. She's just happy about it.
Yep.
There's this woman could be Tarzan. I've got this shark.
She could be.
Think about grabbing a shark. I mean, that's pure Tarzan stuff.
It is. But one recommendation for you, Jen. Your hand back here, it's pretty good. You got good, decent control over that fish, but I'd rather see your hand up here, up around in front of the pectoral fin. You'll have a little bit better control over that fish.
Yeah. Can't turn around and bite you.
Exactly. And even with a bonnet head, they can turn around and bite you. And
yeah, they're not going to kill you, but you'll remember that day.
Yeah. You might remember that day even a little bit more than the day the snapper got you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But other than that, fantastic fish. Great job.
I've been lucky. I've only been nipped by a shark like that. I've never been actually bitten. I've had them come close enough to make teeth marks on me, but never close enough to actually bite. So, hey, the old guy can be pretty quick when he needs to be.
Yeah, but now that you've said it.
Yeah, I know. I know. Said it out loud. My neighbor was putting a starter in his daughter's car, and he said, "Oh, this shouldn't be too bad." I went, "Oh, God, why did you say that? You're going to be here for 3 days replacing this starter because bolts are going to break. Everything's going to go wrong."
Yep.
For some reason or other, Murphy really pays attention when you get cocky. Yeah. So what do we got here?
What we have here is a 12-inch Mayan cichlid from a Port Charlotte freshwater canal back behind Beacon.
No big spot, so it's not a tilapia. More barred pattern on it, and the little kind of brown, different colored yellows on there. But with the tilapia, you're going to see big circles on it.
And this is John Adair with this fish. So
John, nice job.
Let's take a little closer look at it, and there it is on the measuring board. So we can see that, there's the,
Close to 12 inches.
Yeah, it's right up in there. So there's the 11 and a half. There's the 12 mark right there. It's close enough.
Nice.
And this one really has faded out bars on it. You know, sometimes you'll see those bars will be very distinct, and sometimes they'll have like a iridescent blue edge to them. And it does have an eye spot way back here on the tail, but it's, again, very indistinct. This fish just doesn't have a clear color pattern.
Because we have so many tilapia and Mayan cichlids now, you get a regular spot that kind of looks, around the outside darker, lighter in the middle, kind of what Josh would call an eye spot, as in your eye. that tells the difference between the tilapia and the Mayan cichlid. Other than that, they're pretty darn close.
Yeah. And of course, the eye spot is there because you got an eye over here, you got an eye spot over here. If you can convince the predator to grab the wrong end, then you can just get away.
Mm-hmm.
Works out really well. Now, here is a tilapia. So this was a 17-inch tilapia that he caught same day.
Wow.
In the same general area. This was caught on sweet corn, and the cichlid smashed a super shad wrap in the 05 size. So here we've got a big old chunk of a tilapia right there.
That is a big tilapia. I was catching them that big behind the house for a while.
And again, we're here on the board, and we can see there's the 16 right there. So yeah, pushing 17.
Pushing
Good fish.
17. That's a big, and that's a lot of meat. These things are really beefy. They're broad fish. So, across, when you flay that out, you get a nice thick chunk of meat on that. And they're very tasty.
They are. Although
Very
when you cut into this fish, if you happen to check the stomach contents, a lot of times you'll find that the stomach is full of mud. And it's the same reason that you find that in a mullet, because they spend a lot of time picking stuff off of the bottom and sometimes eating the mud itself to digest the other stuff that's in it. But don't worry about that. You don't eat the stomach contents. Throw that away. Eat the meat. The meat's good.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
Oh, look at there.
So here we have John Stabile and a Spanish mackerel. And care to guess the location?
I would have thought Gilchrist, but I'm not sure.
You're real close. It's the Lashley Seawall.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, I was on the right side of the river.
Yep.
Nice fish. What's his name?
John Stabile, and this one happened to eat a shrimp.
Nice.
So
Very nice. Got the clacker going on up here. You throw that out. Every once in a while, just give it a good hard jerk. When you jerk it, it goes in the water, and that tells the fish that other fish are feeding there. At least it tricks them into believing that, so it draws them towards your bobber. That's the idea behind these type of floats, is casting it out there. And people kind of got this in their head because they would have a regular bobber and a bait on, throw it out, it would hit the water and get hit almost immediately. Boom! And the bobber would sit there and drift around. They said, well, what if I made something that could simulate it casting again, make another splash? So they started making bobbers that you could pop and jerk. And so what the popping noise is, the sound of a fish hitting a bait. It's a fish popping the surface, chasing something. And when you do that, your bobber's way up here, and when you jerk the line through it, it jumps the bait. So you have the noise of a fish hitting the bait, plus it looks like your bait's escaping a predator. So you go pop and the bait jumps up, and that's why popping corks works so well, is it's not just drifting around, it's actually attracting fish to there. Just do it every once in a while, though. Don't get crazy with your popping, because that can actually scare the fish away. There's a fine line between fish feeding and people throwing rocks in the water.
right. And the fish want to go to someplace where they can eat, not to someplace where they can get eaten. So if there's a true feeding frenzy going on, maybe you stay away from that.
So you just want to pop, then wait for a while, maybe do 2 pops. And it's just kind of a waiting game. But by doing those pops, that's what brings the other fish to there. That's why you catch so many more fish when you're using a rattling or popping float that actually jumps the bait and splashes the surface. Just giving you an idea, heads up. Like you say, we don't have a script here. It's just whatever hits your brain. And unfortunately, my brain takes a few hits now and then.
We've noticed.
So, okay. Oh, look at that. River snook. Look at that.
So this is from our buddy Steve, whose last name I still can't pronounce right, Irero.
Yeah.
And so he's fishing with his buddy Gene. This is Gene. Gene came down from Pennsylvania for 5 days of fishing. He went and picked him up at the airport at 10:30, and by 2 o'clock, he had caught this 29-inch snook.
Okay, I can't tell from the lights where he's at. Any idea? Did it give you an area?
I'm pretty sure he's fishing down there at El Jobean.
Down at El Jobean, okay.
In fact, I'm pretty sure that every time I drive across the El Jobean Bridge after dark, that his is the boat that I see lit up sitting down there. Because there's always the same boat right there in that spot. It's like,
Well, he's got it down pat. This fish was way upriver. That was up past Snook Haven. This is, if you haven't eaten at Snook Haven, it's an experience. Going up to Snook Haven, get a dinner. You got to go up 41 and you go past Northport to River Road, make a right, go down, 5, 6, 8 miles. You'll see the sign on the right-hand side, Snook Haven.
Have you been up there lately?
They got all these outdoor tables and stuff.
They completely changed everything around up there in the last couple of years.
I think it's probably been a year, 2 years. Terry and I stopped in there for lunch one day.
Okay.
Just had a burger. It was pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's totally different from what it was then. I think that because that's actually, I believe, a Sarasota County park. And I think that they kicked out their concessionaire that was in there. And they brought in somebody else. So I believe it's a totally different setup down there.
It very well could be.
I'm not sure because I try to avoid River Road anymore.
Oh, River Road's got so many housing developments along it. If you think Port Charlotte is built up, start at Northport and look north. Oh, my God. And they didn't widen the roads first. So you have a 2-lane road that was meant for 5,000 residents. And now you've got a 2-lane road with 30,000 residents.
But it's not a problem, Frank, because they're widening the road now while everyone's using it.
Yeah.
So the Florida way.
Yeah. Let's wait until let's give permits for hundreds, if not thousands of houses and then go, oh, well, that got pretty built up. I guess we got to change the road.
Now, listen, what could be better than leaving Pennsylvania and getting down here and then within a couple hours, you've got this 29-inch snook? What could be better than that, Frank? What could be better?
We had a horrible thing.
I know what could be better.
What? Getting
a 41-inch snook.
Get a 40. Oh, that my God. That would be better. So how long he flew in the afternoon?
He flew in at 10:30 at night, and by 2 a.m. he has these 2 fish.
Well, look at that.
Take that,
41. Now, yeah, that's a lot to do here. I mean, he's got it held up. Guy's tough. That's a heavy fish. But, yeah, he's like, got it. No problem. Got it.
And this fish was impressive.
Yeah, it's a nice fish.
Until you saw that one.
The other one, we don't care about.
Yeah, no, we don't care about that one now.
Why did you even send it? No,
so that we could look at this one.
So we could look at this one. That's right.
That's the reason.
That's great. What's his name again?
This is Gene. I don't know what his last name is.
Nice job, Gene.
Gene the Snook guy. That's his name.
Yeah, Gene the Snook guy.
Now, Steve, of course, was down there fishing with him, and they ended up catching a total of 16 snook that night, but they didn't get the 2 great big ones that broke Steve off on the bridge pilings. And, of course, we've seen him catch some big fish.
41 inches, and the big ones got away.
Yep. And here's Steve. And in the beautiful, beautiful morning light, got up early, fished a couple hours before work. He didn't get any monster snook. He did get 4 smaller ones. He got 6 jacks, and this is one of the 3 tarpon that he got.
This guy can fish.
So,
I mean, I'm going to have to watch out not to fish around him so I don't look bad, because that guy could fish. That's amazing. First thing in the morning to catch tarpon like that.
Oh, and just to be there in that early morning light.
I mean, look how beautiful it is.
Fish on the line. What a great day.
Yep.
Of course, then he had to go to work. I hope he likes his job.
Well, I'm sure he likes his job. It allows him to do this.
There we go.
He's got a great job. I don't know what it is, but that's a great job. You can do that in the morning, then go to work. Nice. So
now this is Tom Bell, and Tom is a little shorter on details than a lot of other folks are. So I will read to you his full email. Okay, Bull Bay shrimp and popping cork, 25 inches.
Awesome.
There you go.
There's a man that's right to the point. He's kind of like my dad. I was in Bull Bay. It was 25. Caught on popping cork. What more do you want to know?
Yeah,
that's my dad all over the place. Oh, look at that. Nice fish.
But a very classic presentation on this redfish. Nice coloration out of it. Just the single spot there, nice and bold. Just exactly what you want in a fish
kind of
identification
redfish
photo.
Yeah, you're going to see that on a magazine cover.
Yep.
Very nice.
All right. So, Tyler Schaffer. Tyler obviously doesn't have a photographer to take his fish, so he has to take his own photos. What we've got here is, let's take a look at this rig first of all.
That's a DOA shad.
So, yeah, that one might be.
Yeah,
the bigger
it's
size.
A DOA. It might not be, but
the
between
5.5
the tail and the look, it's the, yeah.
Rigged on a swim bait style hook.
This is a DOA sinker. It's got the hook on there, but this DOA sinker clamps on. He's got the worm hook. It looks like it's got the screw in on it, and then they run it through there. But this little, I'm not sure what kind of hook that is. It might, I'm going to avoid that. But this is a DOA pinch on weight. And so you cut it off. This is probably a 1/4 inch DOA, which would be about twice this long. Cut them in half, you got 1/8 of an ounce. It gives you a little lighter, so when you're jerking it through the water. And this little redfish found that irresistible.
Look at all the dots on him. Boom, boom,
Isn't
boom,
that
boom,
crazy? 2, 3, 4, 5.
But a pretty little fish
Great
all the
little
same.
fish. And that's definitely a river fish. Did you say about where he caught it?
Well, let's see what Tyler has to say. Went out, it was windy and chilly, but you got to go when you can. Started the day catching a small red on an Aqua Dream spoon. That's obviously not this one. Then caught probably 7 or 8 small snook on live shrimp I got from Fishin Frank's. Then hooked a good snook that sadly broke through the leader. Was a good fish, about 26. Then fished a point off the island for the remaining time and caught this redfish on a, he says it's a gulp jerkbait. So that's a gulp. And then caught 3 or 4 more
Maybe. It doesn't
small
look like a
snook
gulp
on live
to me.
shrimp.
It looks like a DOA, but I'll believe him.
Well, I mean, that's what the man said.
Yeah,
so
gulp.
I don't know.
So did he say where?
No.
No, I don't blame you. I would. That's a lot of fish. This guy is good. He caught a lot of fish. Thank you for sharing it, and I don't blame you for telling us where it was, because that's a lot of fish.
He kind of tells us. So this has to be up the river, because he said what really confused him about that day was that the tide was supposed to be high at 3:40, but it was the lowest that he's ever seen in that spot. So he ended up fishing the troughs near the mouths of the canals in the islands.
Okay.
So
sounds like Harbor Heights.
Probably.
But that's he had an amazing day. Caught a lot of fish, and that is really cool. I don't really see, redfish like this with this big a jerkbait. So that was an aggressive fish and a great presentation by him.
All right. And
there we go.
There's a big old redfish.
That's a nice red.
So this is from our frequent contributor, Vinny Ngongoro.
Way to go, Vinny.
Vinny's gone back north, but he came back here just for a little while to get a couple things done, but of course managed to schedule a day of fishing. He went out with Captain Jay Withers, Silver Lining Charters, used him a bunch of times over the last few years. They fished the west side of the harbor, and they got this tank of a redfish.
Huge here to here.
Yeah.
Big shoulders.
Look at the thickness on this thing.
We used to call the big snook that had that oversized shoulders humpbacks.
Yep. And that would work for this redfish.
That would be like a humpback redfish. Bull redfish, I think, is more common.
This
subculture.
Is one of the about 24 snook that they ended up catching.
Nice. 24 snook?
Yep. But look how dark
That's a lot of fun, that size.
Yeah.
Nice fish.
And then, of course, got into a few trout, too. So why not? We'll take the picture. That gives us the slam, right?
I was going to say, he just slammed. Trout, snook, redfish is a slam.
The Charlotte Harbor Slam.
Which one adds the tarpon?
The Charlotte Harbor Grand Slam.
Okay. What happens if you add a shark?
You have a Charlotte Harbor Grand Slam plus a shark.
Okay, because we took out one of the heads of Rapala once, and it was a horrible day. I mean, we were out with 2 different captains plus me, And the only person, it was average 4 people on a boat, the head of Rapala caught a trout. That was the only fish caught. Then we went to another spot, caught a redfish. We went back, switched captains, going out, caught a snook. Went back, switched over, and I think Angel took us out that night, and he caught his tarpon. Those were the only fish caught all day, different times. I mean, we fished like 12, 13 hours that day. Only trout, a snook, a redfish, a tarpon, and a shark. And that was it. He caught them all. Nobody else caught a fish all day.
Okay.
And he gets his grand slam out of it. I was like, in a days of fishing where no one else caught anything. Me, not anybody. But the guy in charge of Rapala caught each one of the individual fish. We were tired. It was like, this is a long day. But when we looked back at the end of the day, we said, you did in one day a grand slam. Yeah. People wait months, years to be able to accomplish that.
Yeah.
Every one of the major game fish. Whoa.
And the way that works, if you look at what the state of Florida does, because there's all kinds of different slams that the state of Florida will send you stuff for as a recognition or whatever. But you have a full year to go out there and do that. If you
year?
They give you a year. You don't have to catch it all in a day. They give you a year.
Well, that's not fair. It's not fair.
You
don't do it in a day. It's not a slam. You do it over a year. That's just regular fishing. You got to do that in a day.
Yeah. I would think that's just regular fishing, but
leave it. Now, look at Florida. They are so screwed up right now. We have no idea what's going on. State, and we love living in Florida. It's got a lot of great things about it. But right now, greed is taking over. They don't want to do the 3-day license. They don't want to do the 7-day license. They only want to do the year license. They only want to do that if you buy the snook permit and the lobster permit. There's a whole greed thing going on. And I know DeSantis doesn't listen to this program, but if you know him and listen to the program, tell him this is sick. This is depraved. We don't like this. We love our state when it's free and equitable. And if all you got to do is make money, we need to fire half of Tallahassee if this is going to go on. So really look at who's in our state representatives. What else do we have? Senators? Whatever. Look, whoever's in there. Vote for somebody else because this is getting stupid. Only way this ever changes is if you vote these people out of office. So if you recognize their name, vote for somebody else.
I have 2 pieces of information to supply to you. First of all, FWC now says that you have to catch your fish in a 24-hour period. Oh. When they first came out with that program, it was a year, but they've changed it. Apparently, somebody told them it was stupid.
Okay. Well, maybe we don't have to get rid of everybody in Tallahassee. Maybe just a few.
And thing number 2, I did look up Snook Haven Park. The restaurant is closed.
Oh, okay.
At this time, they're going to be reopening it at some point, but right now there's no restaurant, there's no live entertainment, there's no boat tours.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's kind of sad because Snook Haven's been kind of a staple down here for a long time.
Yeah, but they're changing it completely from what it was before.
So they're going to go ahead and put up different building and the whole bit.
Yeah. The whole thing's going to be a totally different setup.
It probably needed some upgrading and renovations. It's been running in that same whatever has been there a long time.
Yeah.
Maybe upgrade the environmental stuff.
So, by the way, Vinny says all those fish were caught on live whitebait. So,
oh, okay.
All right. Let's see. Can I get to... There we go.
Look at there.
So, William Wentworth out fishing at Harbor Heights. Started fishing about 3 o'clock and fished until 8:30, or I guess a little after dark. Fish biting off and on, but it got better the later it got. There was a variety of fish. 1 snook, 3 spade fish, 2 stingrays, 4 catfish, 1 ladyfish, and 1 sea trout.
Nice ladyfish, though. I guess you could objectively, in some weird way, say it's the first cousin of the tarpon.
Well, they're fairly closely related. Ladyfish, bonefish, and tarpon all are They're the species that you see getting a leptocephalus larvae, or an eel-style larvae, which means they must be related in some way.
And the weird thing about it is they're just as active as a tarpon. You hook a tarpon this size and a ladyfish that size, they both jump. They both have the same acrobatic capabilities. It's just a lot of fun. And for years, it's been known as the poor man's tarpon because it's not glamorous like the Silver King, but they're a heck of a lot of fun.
But I have a suspicion here that the reason they only caught one ladyfish is look at this rig. Fishing right on the bottom.
Yeah.
Not really where a ladyfish usually wants to eat.
No, you really want to pop and cork for them.
Yep.
You want to get up, be in the middle upper water column.
Yeah.
But that one was hungry.
Yep, it sure was. And in the right spot.
Nice job, guys. Look at that.
Here's the stingray, and he says, by the way, that he did not cut the tail off this ray. It was already missing. So.
I don't understand why people would do that. That's just...
They think they're doing the world a big favor by cutting the tails off those stingrays.
But that's just cruel. There's no reason for it. Take the hook out, put the critter back in the water. Yeah. That's the way God made him. I'm good with that. Don't do that. Don't cut tails off. That is not cool.
Looks
just
like
not
we've
cool.
got the Baker hookout tool going here, I think. So.
Oh, yeah. No, that's the one I like. The one that curls the hook back. Yep.
And then here's the trout.
Very awesome.
Spotty and spotty.
Yeah. Nice trout. Pretty fish.
There we are.
Pretty fish.
I think that's the end of our... Yep, that's it. We are out of photos.
All right.
I have no more.
I
am run dry.
On my beaming pad.
Shall I beam you back in? All right.
So,
let's see if we can get you back in here. Let's get rid of me. And here we go. All right. And I think that's where you're supposed to end up. There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, look, there you are.
Just like Jim Kirk.
Yeah.
Right in there.
Just like magic.
I thought he was a basketball player.
Who?
Oh, no. Different reference.
What?
Okay. I know you're so sports oriented. Oh. Anyway, let's see. Get these down.
So a lot of fish being caught lately. I'm happy to see the variety, but I'm not real surprised that it's happening that way. And I think by the time it's time to do another one of these, we may end up going even longer than this one, which is we're almost an hour here with that.
Yeah, 57 minutes. Yeah. Frank at fishandfranks.com. Send us your emails, photos of you, videos if you've got them. Be happy to do that. And from anywhere in the world or the U.S. And, it's always cool to find out what's going on all over the place. So I think they just had another major cold spell up north. My daughter-in-law, she was saying that it got up to 62 degrees the other day. She's like, ooh, out on the deck,
Right, in shorts.
No sleeves.
Yeah, absolutely.
62 degrees. So that's up in Wisconsin. And she's amazing. They got kids, it's my son is a really good guy.
Why don't I ever see any pictures from them?
It's pretty much iced over for the fishing, and he's actually the captain in, I guess, National Guard, Army National Guard up there, and he's a commander of a base. But he's got a lot of responsibilities right now. So,
all right.
Yeah.
That's a good reason to not send fishing photos. Responsibilities.
But I think as it warms up, I think we'll see some fishing pictures from them.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
In the meantime, you send us yours.
Actually, another Frank.
Great.
My son is named Frank. Yeah.
More Franks, just what we needed.
Yeah. And
when you send us your pics, remember, we want the name, but whatever other information you decide to include is up to you. We don't need to know what your secret spot is. We don't need to know your secret bait if you don't want to share it. Now, if you want people to know, then send all that stuff.
But we are going to look on the rods. We are going to investigate this. We have an analytical process.
Yeah, and if you wear a hat with a funny logo on it, we might look at it, zoom in, see what it says.
Where's the fish? So,
are we done with this thing?
I don't know. I guess so. Guys, thanks for watching. We're still here, still doing it. If you could, subscribe if you haven't. That's if you kind of enjoyed the content and we didn't make you mad for something. Hit subscribe. That helps us out a lot, and we really appreciate it.
Or like the video, or better yet, leave a content, some kind of a comment about that. Well, that's the YouTube really loves.
Yeah, what I was going to actually ask, and this isn't for getting the algorithm to jump us up. This is really because I'm curious. Because every day in the store we get 3 to 5 people commenting about the YouTube. If you're not in the Port Charlotte area, or even if you are, could you put where you watch from? Because I've been hearing some people in Ohio, some Michigan, a couple people in Wisconsin, but I'd really like to know if we're just people from Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda are watching, or if you're from out of state, just, go, hey, and it literally not for the algorithm, just because I'm curious.
Because he wants to know.
I would really
for
like
his
to know
analytical mind.
Not really, but just curiosity is killing me. But let us know if we're reaching out to other states or other areas. If you're from Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda, thank you. It's not necessary to do it. But if you're from out of the area, we'd really like to know if you watch. So thank you very much.
Next time.
Captain Josh Olive, go to fishcoach.net to find Josh's services, or go to Fishin Franks in Port Charlotte, the local bait and tackle store.
Tight lines, everyone. Fishin Franks Fishing Club, now our job is done.